must know it's also risky and illegal. The right thing is write a letter saying we don't get it. Then we go up to get questioned. How do we know this? We just tell them what we did. We cleaned out the garage and basement.
Where are we going? White County.
Okay, I'm gonna do that real quick so I don't have to worry about it.
Well, we're tracking that flood threat for Lake. Name change. So according to the Associated Press, crews have started removing his name from the Kennedy Center. The development comes after the center missed a court-ordered deadline to do so. This is what the outside of the center looks like last night. Crews, they put up scaffolding, and crowds had gathered to watch the letters come down. So, a federal judge ruled that all references of the president be removed and blocked the center's plan to previous closure. The Associated reports that shortly after midnight, the Kennedy Center asked the judge to extend the deadline until noon today, saying thunderstorms that swept through the area had made the work. Ohio Representative Joyce Beatty, an ex-officio board member, her lawsuit is what led to this. And here's what she had to say.
We are hoping that they will also abide by what the second part of the lawsuit said, that we will keep the Kennedy Center open, and they have to have a declaration of a plan of action to say how we will do it. I think we're off to a good start. We have the Mark Twain, and we were able to make provisions for that. We have the 4th of July celebration here. We just have to continue with it.
Trump's name has been removed from the center's website, social media, and other branding materials.
You sure? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I can't believe I say this, but what the heck? 12 people dead.
30 this morning with contact on the property of the airport. We are treating that as a mass casualty. This is not a commercial airliner that is crashed. It's a local airplane and it took off from our local airport.
Okay, that is something I do not want to see. It's scary and sad, but wow. Wow. Okay, that is kind of scary. Would you... How long ago was this? 5 hour?
Sweet mother of God. What's up, guys? It's HMC Productions here, and today I am in Elwood, Indiana, to show you something you guys, if you're into this as much as I am, are gonna freak out about, because I can't believe I'm looking at it with my own eyes. Yeah.
Kmart.
We finally found it, guys.
A big
A
Kmart.
big Kmart sign at an abandoned Kmart. This is beautiful. I never thought I'd be able to see. I mean, I know they're out there, but I just didn't know if I would ever be able to find one. Here one is, a lot closer to home than I thought. This is insane. Selfie? I don't know
No.
why I did this is insane, guys. Let's go check this out together. And I do have some important information and facts about this place, this location that we're going to get into. But this is definitely a older vintage layout big Kmart, for sure. They still have the garden shop sign over here, and look at it. It's just a shop now, but yeah, no, at one time it said garden shop. And this is not, you know, what we were more used to in the era when Kmart closed, you know, that final look to it. Although they do have a road sign. The road sign is still up, and it does still have that more modern, very last updated look to the Kmart logo. However, the big Kmart sign right here remains, and the building, you could just tell, is old school. So this building was originally constructed in 1972 as a W.T. Grant department store. Following the bankruptcy and the liquidation of the W.T. Grant chain, Kmart acquired the lease, officially opened these doors right here at this location in May of 1976. So yeah, this Kmart opened in May of 1976, and it would survive for 43 years, surviving many rounds of corporate downsizing and closing many locations. This location survived for a long time. And then it was finally announced for closure, this location, on September 2019 by Transformco, which is the parent company of Sears and Kmart. This location would then officially close its doors in mid-December of 2019, right before the COVID era.
Wow, right before COVID.
This space is a 52,577 square feet enclosure. It's a clear span building, which means it has very few internal columns inside of it. This was one of the very last Kmarts to close their doors in the state of Indiana, along with Kokomo, Richmond, and Valparaiso. Bro is having the time of his life in this parking lot right now. I wanted to give him the space to do his thing, but he was just, riding his bike.
Marshall, last one out here was Marshall, Michigan. That closed down recently, which, if you know me, I did a video on that. But yeah, it's sad though that a lot of cartoon places that. It's just sad that. It's just sad. What the hell? That's weird. Yeah, guys, we're just killing time and having some fun this afternoon. Speak English. 4 days. Wow.
Confusion. On the airfield, the cargoes are racing down a taxiway at John Wayne Airport, leaving airport workers stunned. CBS LA assignment Edward Mike Rogers at the desk. Mike, the planes on the taxiway ordered not to move during all this.
Yeah, it's starting to say the least bad about these airport workers who I spoke with this afternoon, telling me they didn't know what was happening. And there's actually a second time that car made the pass. I want to show you the video here. This car, apparently a Toyota Camry, just flying down the taxiway at John Wayne Airport yesterday afternoon. The airport says that this is a security guard that works at the airport. A third-party company, Allied Universal, employs him. They say for an unknown reason he began driving at very high speeds down the taxiway at John Wayne. And as I mentioned, the video that you're seeing here is actually the second time that he came through the taxiway area. Orange County Sheriff's deputies eventually caught up with him. After a witness tells me he got out and ran on foot. Deputies say they noticed he was acting erratically, requested the Orange County Fire Authority, and he was ultimately taken to the hospital for what both Allied and John Wayne Airport are describing as. He said while all of this was happening, air traffic controllers were trying to stop all the planes.
Position is a high-speed chase on the taxiway. You guys see that white Camry on the we got a ground or the scrap vehicles on it. It looked like they were outside the surface of the and looking there.
Okay. That's different.
A viral video is shining the spotlight on what some drivers worry is a troubling problem with the San Diego Police Department's parking enforcement tactics.
How do people live? Oh.
Before their meter expired.
I'm watching interesting stuff right now, having fun.
Has a look at the video and also spoke with a couple who were sticking it. Well, that couple parked right here on Island Avenue to pick up their to-go order from the bakery. They say once they came out, they had a more than $80 parking ticket on their windshield. Problem is, though, they say it was fraudulently given to them by parking enforcement officers. Here's the video they say proves it. The Pierces pulling out receipts and urging the San Diego Police Department's parking enforcement officers to do better. After getting a parking ticket for an infraction they say was a lie.
That's an absolute fraud, what you guys let me in.
The couple timestamped this video with their car's cameras. It shows a parking enforcement officer mark the car's tires. Then
Just 2 minutes later, he reverses and gives them an $85 ticket. Before a receipt shows their year expired just after one.
I would be pretty upset personally.
Yeah, for me it was an obvious mistake. The Pierces tried rectifying that mistake on the spot with a parking enforcement officer who was just up the block. As Vanessa was talking to him, she says her calm turned to
Okay. Hey, so I'm just watching random stuff, seeing how people are right now, and today's just
What if I tell you that the Soviet Union never really disappeared? Here in Russia, people still live in old Soviet apartments.
just having fun right now, guys. Just having fun looking at random stuff. And that's about it. Just I got plans for tomorrow, which I'm not gonna give up. This week is the carnival. But we're not going to the carnival this year because it's not worth going to the carnival this year. We are going to the carnival for a second to go to the car show, but that's about it. We can actually have yeah.
What if I tell you that the Soviet Union never really disappeared? Here in Russia, people still live in old Soviet apartments, eat food from the USSR, and even Lenin himself was never buried. It's here, in the middle of Red Square. Today I'll show you why hammers and sickles are still everywhere in Russia, why Moscow's metro is also a giant bunker, how people still live in tiny Soviet apartments, and why the USSR never fully disappeared. This is Khrushchevka, and it was built to serve 25 years. But it's been more than 60 and people are still living here. Before these blocks appeared, a lot of Soviet families did not have an apartment at all. They lived together in a single room inside of a communal apartment. It was divided between several unrelated families. Each family had its own bedroom, but everyone shared the same kitchen, bathroom, hallway, and even one telephone. Imagine living with strangers who knew what you cooked and how much time you spent in the bathroom. Also, parents and their kids lived in the same bedroom, so I don't have to explain to you that there was absolutely no. In the 1950s, an average person from the USSR had only 4 square meters of living space, which is roughly the size of a king-size bed. So the Soviet government decided to give every family their own apartment for free. They had to do it fast, and they had to do it cheap. So the Soviet Union turned housing into a factory product. All the walls and concrete panels were manufactured in factories, then loaded onto trucks and delivered to construction sites. And then giant cranes lifted the pieces into place, just like building a giant Lego. This made it possible to build a house in 12 days.
Well, that's not bad. You can build an apartment in 12 days. That's not bad.
There's no elevator, so you have to climb up if you live on the 5th floor, and you do it every day, so I guess people are very fit here.
In fact, every building had only 5 floors because at that height, they could legally be built without an elevator. And families on the 5th floor had to carry everything upstairs: groceries, bicycles, and even heavy furniture. The apartments are very small, so people are leaving their baby strollers and bicycles in between of 2 entrance doors or in the shared hallways. I had my bicycle for years next to my apartment entrance door, and it was not locked and never got stolen. Every Soviet apartment has a notice board for residents. Here they have current voting for replacing their entrance door, and every apartment has its own mailbox downstairs. A Soviet 2-room apartment does not mean 2 bedrooms. It means 2 rooms total. One might be a children's room, and the other could be a living room during the day and a parent's bedroom at night. The balcony serves as an extra storage room, and in winter also a second refrigerator. Then there's the kitchen, and in many Soviet apartments it's only 5 or 6 square meters, about 55 to 65 square feet. One faucet serves the sink and the bathtub, and you can always see the pipes. In the Soviet Union, you could not buy an apartment. They were assigned by the state, often after years on a waiting list. But back then, the apartments were given to families for free. And today, the tiny apartment I just showed you is worth around $250,000. You might think this is crazy. Who would want to buy an apartment in a building this old? But people are literally lining up for them. Also a second refrigerator. Then there's the kitchen, and in many Soviet apartments, it's only 5 or 6 square meters, about 55 to 65 square feet. One faucet serves the sink and the bathtub, and you can always see the pipes. In the Soviet Union, you could not buy an apartment. They were assigned by the state, often after years on a waiting list. But back then, the apartments were given to families for free. And today, the tiny apartment I just showed you is worth around $250,000.
You might think this is crazy. Who would want to buy an apartment in a building this old? But people are literally lining up for them. You can even see these notes offering to buy apartments in buildings that look ready to collapse. Why? Because Moscow is demolishing many of these old Soviet buildings and giving residents brand new apartments in the same neighborhood at no extra cost. This is called Moscow Renovation Program, and some owners have made serious money from it. And while
Oh,
Soviet apartment
hello.
blocks might not look luxurious, back in the USSR they were treasures because they gave families privacy. And in modern Moscow, they're still incredibly valuable, bringing their owners either a brand new apartment or a major financial opportunity. I'm
Hello.
So I'm about to take you to a Soviet-style cafeteria where you can still eat like people did in the USSR for around $4. And we're getting there by Moscow's most Soviet ride. Stalin built an underground palace in Moscow to prove that socialism was superior. So let's go and see what subway of Moscow looks like inside. The moment you step inside, it does not feel like public transportation.
Oh, wow. This is like 3 days ago? Wow, still...
And Stalin. This says, through the storms, the sun of freedom shone upon us, and the great Lenin lit our path. And Stalin raised us to be loyal to the people and inspired us to labor in heroic deeds. Every time I enter the Moscow metro, I'm shocked by how clean it is, and how much of it has survived almost untouched since Soviet times. Most of what you see is still original. Marble walls, giant chandeliers, bronze statues, mosaics covering entire ceilings, and all of this was built for ordinary workers on their way to factories. When I was a student, I would spend 2-3 hours minimum a day in subway, because Moscow is that big. Yes, it's very convenient. The logistics are amazing. The public transportation is amazing. Subway's amazing. But it's just so big. So you're definitely grateful that it's so nice here in Subway. And of course there's
Lenin.
Lenin and a giant hammer and sickle. It costs only $1 to ride Subway anywhere you want in Moscow. And every station serves the goals of the USSR. The workers, soldiers, farmers, pilots, and athletes on the walls show the
So $1 a ride? That's not bad.
productive and loyal. And this station celebrates the country that no longer exists. But millions of Russian people still see Soviet stars, hammers and sickles, red flags, and images of Lenin every single day. We are at Kievska subway station. That is, we're dedicated to Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, and to Ukrainian people. It opened in 1954, and almost everything here celebrates the friendship between Soviet Russia and Ukraine. There's 18 giant mosaics showing an ideal Soviet Ukraine. Farmers, workers,
Not anymore.
festivals, and people celebrating their union with Russia. This sign talks about unbreakable friendship between the Russian and Ukrainian people. And this message is still written into the wall of the most popular station in Moscow subway today. And the station connects directly to the Kiev railway station. Because during the Soviet Union, passengers could arrive here, board a train, and travel directly between Moscow and Kiev. And from this subway station, you can take a trip from Moscow
Oh, so be
to
to LA. Okay, that's not bad.
by train to reach Vladivostok from Moscow, and it's 5,800 miles. And to put it in perspective, it's like going from Los Angeles to Miami and then back. And this is all one train ride that starts here in Moscow, basically in Europe, and ends in Vladivostok on the border with North Korea and China. And yeah, that's how crazy it is. And it only costs around $200 for the whole train trip from Moscow to Vladivostok. But Moscow's metro was not just beautiful, it was also built to become a giant bomb shelter. These massive, blast-resistant doors could seal parts of the station, and it would help protect people from explosions, smoke, and contaminated air. During World War II, platforms became sleeping areas, medical stations, and shelters for hundreds of thousands of people. Thousands of beds were installed underground, and more than 300 babies were born inside the metro. We're at the Red Square, and here, still can eat the way people ate in the USSR. This is Stolovaya, a Soviet-style cafeteria where people still eat even nowadays in Russia. And look how many people want to eat here. USSR built it to eat cheap and fast in places like factories, schools, universities, and entire...
That's enough of that.
Now you guys know I love filming locations,
And once I started doing this channel, I started realizing that a lot of other people love filming locations too. I also realized that a lot of you might be visiting Los Angeles, or maybe you live here, you just don't have the time to hunt all this stuff down like I do. So today, I'm making a video for all of you of filming locations that anybody can go check out, no matter what part of Los Angeles you're in. Now, there's a couple of rules for this video. First of all, I'm going to try and stay away from residential neighborhoods, because sometimes when you're filming homes, you get the homeowners or the neighbors coming out wanting to know.
So you started a business. That's huge.
I mean, it's small, but yeah.
It's your baby.
Actually, this food company for babies is my baby.
Which means
And I just want to make this easy for all of you guys. Also, this is going to be one of the only videos that I do where we're not doing strictly 80s and 90s stuff. I mean, we'll probably still mostly focus on 80s and 90s, but we might go outside of that a little bit. So if you're planning a trip to Los Angeles and you love filming locations, this is definitely going to be the video for you. So, let's go see what we can find.
I'm up.
So I think for me, this is always going to be one of the best filming locations. The Puente Hills Mall, also known as the Twin Pines Mall from Back to the Future. Right here is where Marty McFly would have rolled into the parking lot on his skateboard. He would have come down this hill and then stopped right over there at that little yellow gate. And Marty's standing right here looking into the parking lot, and that's when he sees Doc Brown's truck. And Marty heads down there, and that is the first time that he sees the DeLorean time machine. And look what I just noticed while I was standing over here. This is pretty cool. Got a little tribute to our buddy Adam LeWoo.
Oh, that's nice.
And look what I just noticed while I was
5 days
standing over
ago.
here. This is pretty cool. Got a little tribute to our buddy Adam LeWoo.
Aww.
Now for me, what makes this such a great location, it's a few things actually. First of all, the fact that Back to the Future is one of the greatest movies of all time, but this location plays such a huge role in the movie. This is where he first sees the DeLorean time machine, and this is where he actually travels back into the past. The whole plot of the movie, it all starts right here in this very spot where we're standing. Also, the fact that so much of the mall has not changed. I mean, you can tell right here, this was the J.C. Penney's. It has changed a little bit, but this building over here, which was the Robinsons, that is completely as it was in the movie. And then also the fact that anybody can come here and see this. It's open to anybody. But for how long? Some of the plans have said that they're just going to do a massive remodel. Some of the plans have said that they're going to tear down the mall completely and build something new. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. Now, I did notice when I arrived today that the soup plantation that used to be right here has been torn down. I also used to call this the shoe plantation because for whatever reason there was like 30 pairs of shoes on the roof. If you saw the other video I did here, then you know what I'm talking about. And I want to see if we can go into the mall still. I don't think you can still go in there. I heard that the sign is no longer... Hey, all right, I guess we can still go in. Oh, I gotta talk quiet. It's really quiet in here. It smells funny. Now, I had heard the Twin Pines sign was for sale, and then I was told that it was gone, but then some other people said that it was just moved. This is where it used to be. There is a business still open. I think that's a hair salon. That's crazy. An entire mall open for two things. Oh my gosh. How was I just walking right past it? There it is. Twin Pines Mall sign. It's weird how much bigger this sign looks now that it's inside this tiny store. Now I know I said that we were going to stay away from
Okay, so the mall's shutting down. Okay, that sucks. Well, Prim is going to be coming back. So Prim Nevada is not going nowhere. Good.
Women over 40, you need this in your makeup bag. The Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara is so
I would like to watch a little porn.
I posted a video about Prim 8 weeks ago, where I showed how the town was in decline. At that time, Buffalo Bills had shut down regular operations. Whiskey Pete's was already closed, and Prim Valley was the only casino still running full-time. The outlet mall was empty, and it looked like the whole area was slowly fading out and becoming a ghost town. But then, everything changed. Just a few weeks ago, the previous operator, Affinity Gaming, announced plans to close Prim Valley Resort and related businesses by July 4th, 2026. That would have meant more than 300 jobs lost and left travelers without a major stop right at the California-Nevada border. The shutdown notice created a lot of uncertainty for workers and people who rely on the area for gas, food, and a break on the long drive. Then, on June 9th, the Prim family announced a new agreement with Terribles, a Las Vegas-based company, the same people who let their hotel and casino in Jean close down. Under the deal, Terribles will take over operations of Prim Valley Casino Resort, the Oasis Apartments, the Lotto Store, and other properties. This partnership keeps everything open and avoids the July 4th closure. Corey Clementson, grandson of founder Ernie Prim and president of Prim South Real Estate, said the family is delighted with the partnership. Both the Prim and Herbst families have long histories in Nevada and share the same goals for the area. Tim Herbst, president of Terribles, called Prim one of the state's most recognized.
Okay, so Prim. I don't know what to do.
This is the world's least visited country. Over 2,000 miles from the Australian coast, lost in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. This tiny island was once the richest nation on planet Earth. Now it's mostly a toxic wasteland that almost nobody visits. Today, I'm taking one of the world's most obscure airlines to the smallest island nation on the planet to try and answer one simple question. What happened here?
Oh, good morning.
Why is there such a massive city on this tiny island in the middle of the ocean? I thought small islands were supposed to be deserted, the place you go to mine bird poop.
Now we have a serious warning about the millions of dollars Americans rely on for retirement. More than 62 million people get benefits from the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund. A new government analysis says in just 6 years, the fund will only have enough money to pay 78% of its scheduled.
Hello, the A174 is a 33-mile long road that runs from Quick.
Just having fun, guys. Relaxing, seeing how you guys are doing stuff. That's about it.
Freedom Wings and Ashley Stars and Stripes Sale. Celebrate 250 years of America.
I'm very fearful. I'm fearful when I leave my home. Living in fear of confrontation. On their own properties.
Do we feel safe in our home? No.
The Craigfield community in Loganville, east of Atlanta.
I always check my cameras around the house.
Installing cameras not because of crime, bullying, harassment, but concerns with their own HOA president.
And I have videos of her going outside to inspect.
Just make sure you don't cross the little pink ribbon right there.
We'll start with Frank Bosa.
She sent me a bill that I owe her $137,000.
You heard that right. $137,000.
$137,768. We have no idea what this fine is for.
I have no idea. My attorney failed to say there's no indication of any violation.
But Bosa believes,
He is interested in taking over my house.
and with an HOA fine more than $2,000 and a 30-day notice, that's legal in Georgia.
I will fight for my house because it's a dream for me and my family.
Down the street, John Coleman feels the same way.
How about the this?
Coleman and his wife moved in to help her parents who are both battling cancer. After arguments over property lines with the HOA president next door, Coleman filed a police report alleging she kicked him. Police said there wasn't enough evidence, but soon after, they too received a fine. This one, $10,000 with no explanation.
We anticipated getting 5 more of these.
They say the stress is taking its toll.
And as a result of what's been going on, it has to as well as my dad here, and even myself.
Homeowners in the neighborhood tell us they began asking for financial ledgers after their dues went up another $500 this year. In 2019, when the homes first sold, dues were just $500. In 2022, when homeowner Melody Dowding took over as president, they rose to $745.
Now we are at $1,316.
The homeowners say Downing elected her own board of 2 people, has only ever shared proposed budgets, never receipts.
This is the budget, 2024.
Grounds and maintenance, $18,000.
18,000 something on the ground maintenance. I was like, what?
The community is only 28 homes along a 0.2-mile-long street, and homeowners say they're responsible for mowing their own lawns, which leaves HOA grounds to the entrance, the mailbox area, and a retention pond.
I feel like there could be something bad behind the scene.
This year, the board hired a management company and legal to collect dues and fines, a total of $17,000. They also added a $200 special assessment to each home. Atlanta News First Investigates spoke with Downing on the phone, but she said she couldn't comment on anything due to pending litigation.
Good morning. Good morning.
Who's walking around being the neighborhood police?
These are all HOA fees.
And the money go up so high, you probably lose your house.
I will never buy another home with the HOA.
An attorney for a national civil rights organization is celebrating recent defeats for a neo-Nazi group that stirred up trouble here in Nashville and hopes this is a
Hello, what do you do when the council close a road and impose a diversion of settled miles? Hello, what do you do when the council close a road and impose a diversion of settled miles, increasing your fuel costs and perhaps more importantly, wasting your valuable time? You could of course set off earlier and just deal with it, or, as it turns out, you could build your own road around the problem and then charge people to use it. And that's exactly what local resident and businessman Mike Watts did back in 2014. And today we're going to talk about it because it's bloody brilliant. My name is John. Welcome to Auto Shenanigans. Why not consider subscribing? Our story begins with the A431, a road that isn't particularly large, but it forms one of the main routes from Bath to Bristol, and as such it's a fairly busy stretch of road with local residents and businesses using it to go about their day. The other main route between Bath and Bristol mostly utilises the A4, and these roads have been key trading routes for centuries. In the 1700s, the routes were turnpikes, which means you had to pay a toll to use either roads, and they were known as the Upper Turnpike and Lower Turnpike, owing to the River Avon running in between. And it's the River Avon that's the troublemaker getting on with the video. In 2014, the river flooded, and that's fine. It's been doing that for a rather long time, and there are things like floodplains and whatnot, so no worries. Yes, worries, because early 2014 saw an unprecedented amount of rain, resulting in floods far larger than the usual. Flood detection systems recorded their highest levels ever, with Bath and Bristol ending up underwater. Along the river to the south of Kelston, a village on the A431, the floods caused quite a problem when
This key right here, this is 40 years old. It's made of steel.
Why is the Mile High Club in Los...
I got this beautiful tiny home. I lined up electricians, plumbers, inspectors, only for the government to shut me down. And it all started from a Facebook post.
Facebook? How so?
So when this tiny home was delivered, by accident, when the delivery company came in, they had left the wheels that were on the bottom of the home on it. So, of course, the manufacturer reached out to me, and at their expense, they had me reach out to
It's not exactly a watch party if there's nothing to watch. Good thing Walmart Express delivery comes in as fast as an hour.
1 hour? Who knew?
Sorry.
Yeah, I got this.
Not on my watch.
People think you're good at something, or you're not.
Well, I don't know.
Why is the Mile High Club in Los Santos not yet finished? If we want to be boring, we
Huh?
can assume that Rockstar would hesitate to permanently change the building in any city